Hello and welcome to the Codex Prime podcast. We are on episode 84 and it is Tuesday, August 8th, 2017. I am your host, Victor Omoayo, and with me as always is my social media chair and co-host, Carl Byrd.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, man, we are back once again. Thank you for joining us. We are on Facebook Live, and if you're watching us right now, great. Or if you're watching us right now, when it's not really right now, if you're watching us the next day, then we're not really live. But you know what I mean. Yeah, but we thank you for listening and tuning in nonetheless. Today we got a few things to talk about. We got some couple of reviews coming your way. Got some headlines to talk about, and we're going to be talking about some television shows from the past that either we didn't like or shows that we used to like back in the day, but for some reason just don't hold up.
Victor's going to hate all your favorites, so get ready to become the villain.
Well, now here's the thing. Now I will not be the super villain, like in our previous episode a few weeks ago when we were talking about old video games. If by me being a villain means that I have a different opinion than most of y'all, then so be it. Yes, I'll wear that like a badge of honor. Yeah.
Like I said, prepare to be the villain.
Alrighty then. So, with that said, Mr. Byrd, what kind of villainy have you gotten into last week?
None. I literally just been working on some DJing stuff, working on some blends for upcoming possibly Codex mixtape that I'm gonna put together for y'all.
Okay.
So then I started reading the book based on the trailer that came out last, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago at San Diego Comic-Con. I was highly impressed with the Ready Player One trailer, and I just said, you know what? Let me read the book. I know a couple of my friends started reading the book. A friend of the show, Freddie, he recommended the book to me like a while ago, like sometime when it first came out. And I'm like, I think I was reading something at the time, so I just said, all right, I'll get to it eventually. Mm-hmm. So then now that the trailer comes out, I mean, the movie won't come out till next year, but I'm like, you know what, that gives me plenty of time. I want to read this book. I want to see what the hype is. And I'm really liking it. I'm only in like chapter 9 or 10.
Oh, okay.
But it's pretty good. It takes place in the future where this game called Oasis basically kind of like just takes over the world. It's like our PlayStation Network, our Xbox Live, but like you're inside. You're like virtually inside it.
Oh, so it's like The Matrix.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Very, very similar to The Matrix, but and it's like it's pretty much like there's a lot of 80s references to it. Because the creator, I almost said The Matrix. The creator of Oasis died. And he issues a game, like a challenge, to where if you can retrieve these 3 keys, you win his fortune, which was like $240 billion, I believe, and you achieve his money, the Oasis fortune, his video game companies, and everything. So
oh wow!
So it follows. I don't even think he even says his name, but there's the main character. It follows him basically just trying to retrieve that.
Okay.
So I'm only in the beginning stages, so forgive me if this review's not that great, but I still recommend that you start reading it, especially in time for the movie. So then, and I also caught the WWE Network's Table for 3, which was entitled WCW versus NWO, and it featured X-Pac, DDP, and Scott Hall. All guys looking very well nowadays.
Yeah.
Looks like X-Pac kicked whatever his habit now. He's no longer fat.
Oh, wow.
He actually has a 6-pack again.
Nice. Good for him.
If you watch the Resurrected of Jake the Snake DVD, Scott Hall's looking much better. And DDP's looking better than all of them. And he's older than all of them.
Yeah, DDP Yoga works wonders, y'all.
I'm actually going to be starting that soon.
Nice. High five, man. Boom.
I actually plan on starting that. So doing that with my usual workout, pretty be good. I'll be looking pretty good.
All right. You won't look like you look less bummy. That's what's up.
I'm not bummy at all.
So you say, all right, but that's good, man. That's good.
Talk.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, my style has improved considerably.
Yes, it has improved. Can always use improvement.
Yes, it has improved. Don't put any qualifiers on that, Carl. Don't take away my joy.
It has improved.
Yeah.
They can always use improvement. We all can use improvement.
Of course.
All right, then.
Don't take away my joy.
All right, what's going on, Cousin Jordan?
Hey, welcome to the show, Jordan.
So, other than that, that's pretty much it. And then just working on DJ blends.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, that's what's up.
Yeah, it's a very low-key week for me.
I hear that. Yeah, I'm glad that WWE is still making Table for 3 episodes.
Yeah, no, because they always... that's just me. I always love listening to the OG stories because they just tell the best stories.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also glad that the show is not a victim of their WWE budget cuts that they've been making.
Yeah, because they're canceling good shows.
Yeah, like Talking Smack.
I catch it after 205 Live, but then I'm just like, all right, then I kind of switch over to whatever I want to fall asleep on.
Yeah, indeed.
Usually I do fall asleep to that, but
All right.
I'm tired. Cut me some slack.
Yeah. I mean, you're working, 4 jobs?
Just two.
Wow, man. But yeah, that's cool. So nothing else?
Jordan asked me, how do I feel about Gran Turismo? I mean, it's worth giving it a shot and, checking out at Redbox. I was never really, I haven't really seriously played a racing game since the first one and Rad Racer. I was never really into racing games like that, but it was worth giving a shot to.
Okay. Is there a new Gran Turismo game out?
Yeah, I don't think it's out yet. It's supposed to be coming out though.
Okay.
Yeah. It was they showed it on at E3.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I've only played the first 2 Gran Turismo games for the PS1, and I've also played
That's one I played.
yeah, and I've also played Gran Turismo 4. That was for the PS2. Which I thought they were cool, like driving simulation games. I'm more of an arcade racer, whereas the simulation is all about, you gotta switch the gears and all this, and it's like,
My dad's like that. I told him about Gran Turismo. He says, I'm gonna need the steering wheel. It's a video game. I'm like, you do more than just that, but whatever. He said that for Grand Theft Auto too, and I'm like, you do more than just drive.
Yeah, absolutely.
My dad's old. Forgive him.
I can't help it. Yeah, but yeah, that's cool. As for me, I've actually watched a few movies. As per usual, one movie that I highly recommend people check out, and it's a movie that's really timely, sadly. It's a movie called Detroit.
I've been wanting to see that. Please tell me it's good.
Detroit is excellent.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I need it.
Yeah, Detroit is an excellent movie. It's the latest film, and I believe it's the 10th film, directed by Catherine Bigelow, who directed The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30.
Okay.
And this film, it stars, let's see, John Boyega,
Anthony Mackie, Augie Smith.
Yep, Augie Smith, Will Poulter. Oh, we'll get into him in a bit. And Hannah Murray, who's best known as playing Gilly on Game of Thrones, Sam's girl.
Love to see people on my favorite shows getting work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Detroit, it's an excellent docudrama, and it's a depiction of the 1967 12th Street riots, most specifically the Algiers Motel incident. And to give you context, during the 60s, Detroit was a hotbed of racial tension that's been building up for decades and decades, and due to like white flight and the majority of African American community being confined into these ghettos, which are like crowded and overpopulated, and mind you, the majority of the police force were pretty much like 90% white. So you can imagine the amount of racism and the tensions that were building up to that point.
Definitely can.
Yeah, and what sets off the riots was when the police raided this blind pig, which is known as like an illegal after hour spot. Mm-hmm. So the police come in and they break up this party, and apparently somebody and this was like the straw that broke the camel's back. So somebody throws a bottle at the cops, and then next thing you know, riots start breaking loose all around Detroit. Businesses are broken into, stores and buildings are lit on fire. Black-owned businesses, in order to avoid the carnage, they would spray tag a Soul Brother on their windows to show solidarity with the rioters and the protesters. And the National Guard actually came in. And this is actually known as, I guess, the third worst riot in American history, next to the Rodney King riots and New York draft riots in the 1800s. and this
Rodney King riot was something else.
absolutely. Yeah, and the centerpiece of this film is the Algiers motel incident, where police and the National Guard raided this hotel, and three black kids were killed, three black males, teenagers, and to the film's credit, it pulls as much true life accounts and facts on the case as it could, but because nobody really knows for sure what happened, how those three teenage boys got killed, a lot of it had to, well, not a lot of it, but a good amount of it had to be dramatized to kind of like provide a story.
Yeah.
And so the film does provide that disclaimer. But with that said, the facts that we do learn about the case, man, it's upsetting. Like this film turns into like a horror film, because when the police raid this hotel, the cop that tortures these kids. This is actor Will Poulter. He's like this racist white cop who doesn't give a fuck. He definitely abuses his badge, and like every time I saw him on screen, like the way he treated the patrons in the hotel, and hurling racial epithets at them, torturing them mentally, beating them physically with a shotgun in his fists, and his racist ass buddy cops watching him and egging him on.
Oh, I was a kid from We Are the Millers.
Yeah, from We're the Millers. Like, Will Poulter, straight up, no lie, he deserves an Oscar nomination, because when I saw him, and I never seen We're the Millers, I think this is the first movie I've seen him in, I was like, yo, fuck this guy, man. Yo, this guy's a fucking prick. I want somebody to beat the shit out of him. My blood pressure was building. With all the bullshit that he pulled in this movie.
He was also in The Maze Runner. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that. No.
Son of Rambo.
Haven't seen that either.
Chronicles of Narnia, Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Haven't seen that either. No.
The Revenant.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in The Revenant. Yeah. He was tagging along with Tom Hardy. I think unwillingly, but yeah, man. Yo, Will Poulter, man. He was a fucking prick and a half in this movie, and I never wanted to see a character fucking get it in the worst way so bad, until there's another character that's almost as worse as him. His slimy ass douchebag union rep lawyer, played by John Krasinski. I think you all know him from Jim from The Office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, oh man, that smarmy ass white lawyer who tries to get him off the case and gets him acquitted. Fuck that guy, man. Oh, fuck his character.
It's not you know what's not racist?
What?
DBZ. Shout outs to Aris.
God damn it, Aris. God damn it, Aris. But anyway, like the whole film is just unfortunately all too timely, because like it's all about police brutality and racism and how those two conflate, and how, in the words of Martin Luther King, riots are the language of the unheard. And you definitely see that through this movie. And I gotta say, this film it's really upsetting. It's pretty depressing. And
Did you cry?
I didn't cry. I left angry. I left pissed the fuck off, but in a good way, because this movie should piss people off, because these events took place in 1967, and mind you, a few of the key players from that incident are still alive to this day, and 50 years later, we're still talking about police brutality and racism. As a matter of fact, this movie could have been like a fictional film that could have been set in 2017, exactly the same, and nothing would have really changed, except for maybe like fashion and whatnot and music. But man, Detroit is definitely an excellent film. Catherine Bigelow and the screenwriter Mark Bold did an excellent job. The cast did an excellent job. This is a film that people should definitely talk about. It's one of the best films of the year. And it's a film that it's incendiary, it's timely, it's upsetting, but it needs to be seen and it needs to be talked about.
You need to pick me up.
I do need to pick me up.
Okay, well in that case, Ira says sounds like Vic needs to play that new DBZ fighting game to cheer up.
Listen, man, we got until February 2018, all right?
But you are playing a fighting game yourself.
I am playing a fighting game, man. Thanks to you. I currently am borrowing Carl's copy of Tekken 7, and Tekken 7 is actually pretty cool.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I've been playing the treasure mode. I've been playing with some of the characters that are beginner friendly, like Hwoarang. He's like my go-to. I'm trying to master or try to get good with some of the more complex characters, like Master Raven, who's kind of difficult to get into. What's another character? Nina Williams, Gygus, who has an interesting look. Yoshimitsu, and some of the newer ones like Asuka. I think she's pretty cool.
I think she's been in the franchise for a while.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. But yeah, Tekken 7 is pretty cool. It's typical for me fighting game problems where you gotta sit down and memorize like literally hundreds of combos and button combinations and pull them off.
You don't necessarily have to memorize them. You just that's what the move list is for.
Yeah, but the move list is like literally like 100 to 200 moves or combos per character.
Okay, find a couple that work for you, and then just have at it.
Yeah, but then it devolves into my other problem of fighting games, like button mashing. Just like, oh shit, do what works to win the match. There's no flow, no technique like some professional players.
You have to develop them.
I know.
That's what practice is for.
I know. Yeah,
practice. Not the game. Practice.
Yeah, right.
Allen Iverson reference.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Is he still playing ball?
Who?
Allen Iverson?
No, he's in the Hall of Fame now.
Oh, wow, cool. Yeah, so yeah, Tekken 7 is cool. And another pick-me-up that I do recommend, it's a really good book that I've actually finished. And this is Justin Roberts' Best Seat in the House, Your Backstage Pass Through My WWE Journey. And this is a book by a former WWE ring announcer, Justin Roberts, and he talks about his experiences in the WWE and how he got there. And I highly recommend reading this book. You can actually borrow it if you want.
I will once I finish reading Ready Player One.
Yeah. What I really like about this book is Justin Roberts' passion and enthusiasm for professional wrestling. Like he's been a lifelong fan since he's a kid, and he talks about how he always wanted to be a ring announcer. Like he talks about the craft behind it and how it's not as easy as people say it is. Like he talks about like the nuances of ring announcing, like announcing heels and faces in a certain way, in a different way, like certain how to make matches sound bigger or match results pop and really resonate with the fans and things like that. He talks about some things too, like with ring announcing, like how he has no cue card. None of the ring announcers, like him and Garcia, have no cue cards at all. Like they have to memorize wrestlers' weights and hometowns. Everything. And sometimes it changes on the fly. And what also struck me about the book was his experiences in the WWE and how like his lifelong dream, his passion kind of was diminished year after year because of how he was treated and the things that he saw in the company, how creatively WWE basically rested on their laurels to the point where it became a mediocre product in many respects. Some of the things that he talked about in the book were, for example, JBL. He talks about how JBL is a vicious and infamous bully, which we've heard in wrestling for years. But he talks about how he would browbeat and just belittle other wrestlers, especially him, Roberts in this case, where he would tell him to kill himself or, oh, why are you still alive? Go fucking commit suicide or things like that. And Roberts also talks about a really evil rib that he thinks JBL did, or if not, somebody associated with him, where his passport was stolen from him while they were in England. And he never found out who stole it, and he actually had to go to the U.S. Embassy in Manchester, England, just to get a new passport, and then he had to fly all the way to New York to kind of like finish the process of getting a new one, and he never found out who stole it. And apparently, I think according to Roberts, John Hennigan or John Morrison, not currently Johnny Nitro on Lucha Underground, actually confirmed that JBL was trying to encourage him to steal the passport, and he said no. And he also talks about a bit of his experiences working with Kevin Dunn, the executive producer, who a lot of people in the industry don't like, especially Jim Cornette. And
who was that?
Kevin Dunn, he's the
the
executive producer for WWE programming. And he also talks about how Kevin Dunn is basically not a kind of a shitty person, like somebody who is there because he's basically Vince McMahon's number one stooge, and he basically has a job for life. Current rumor is once Triple H and Stephanie McMahon officially take the reins from Vince, Kevin Dunn might be one of the first people on his way out. But that's time will tell. He also talks about Triple H as well, and how Triple H is a guy whose on-screen persona, you can see a lot of his real personality in his his TV persona, according to Justin Roberts, how Triple H is a guy who's fundamentally insecure and how he always has to get like sarcastic digs and like jabs at people for no reason, even if it's like the most innocuous moment, because he always wants to like kind of reassert himself as like the biggest player in the game, like the guy that you got to respect, and he's got to take you down a peg, even if you're just having a conversation with him, which I thought was pretty interesting and kind of says a few things. A couple things in the book which I won't spoil. He does talk about WWE's ethically dubious business practices, especially when it comes to philanthropy. Like if you remember in WrestleMania 30, that kid Connor McCallick, the Crusher. The reason why WWE even worked with Connor McCallick was that Justin Roberts himself was the first and only person to actually reach out to him and his family. Like he saw him one day at one of the shows, and Justin Roberts, he's a guy who like he's kind of like a very like a giving, very helpful personality. Mm-hmm. So he actually saw him and his family at one of the shows, and he actually encouraged him to actually introduce him to some of the guys backstage and the personalities. And he actually introduced Daniel Bryan to him. And through Robert's efforts, he actually got WWE to notice McCallick. And the way WWE handled it, like they underwent a bit of revisionist history, where they kind of used Connor's image as their face of their philanthropy efforts, like reaching out to like the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Well, WWE's always been involved with the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah,
for years.
Oh yeah, like they've always been involved, but they've tried to use him as they've used his image in a way that's sort of like uncomfortable, like for philanthropic purposes, like for other similar organizations like Make-A-Wish. Yeah. And the way they used McCallick's story was it made it look like Triple H and Stephanie were the ones who actually came up with the idea, whereas it was actually Roberts who came up with the idea, and Roberts got no credit at all.
They're notorious for that. Like JBL was actually for the tribute for the troops shows that they always have. JBL was actually the one to come up with that.
Oh wow, really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, well, even a bully can have some redeeming qualities every once in a while. But yeah, like some of the things that he talks about in the book, like that kind of, it kind of diminishes like your appreciation of WWE. Even though I'm still a fan, like some of the things, it's like I've
you gotta take the bad with the good.
Yeah, kind of.
One of those situations.
Yeah, and also too, like I definitely appreciate the WWE personnel, not just the wrestlers, but like the referees and the ring announcers and the ring crew, like for their hustle, because their travel schedule is straight up brutal, and the fact that WWE that to this day most of them are still considered independent contractors and not actual employees, and they get no benefits, and they have that horrible travel schedule. It's like, man, I can see how even the most passionate person of wrestling or WWE can just totally check out and not want to work for them ever again, much like Roberts eventually did. But yeah, I do recommend checking out Justin Roberts' book, Best Seat in the House. You'll learn a lot of great stuff. You come away with an appreciation for not only the business of not only like the hustle that these wrestlers and personalities go through, but also Robert's story himself. And it also is pretty inspirational too. Like follow your passion, follow your dreams, and there's no conventional way to get to where you want to be.
Oh yeah, embrace the hustle. That's what I always say. Okay, going back to the live feed. Jordan wants to know, how do we feel about Nintendo Switch games?
I don't own
a Switch.
Yeah.
I haven't never really played one. I watched some people play them. Zelda looks fun.
It does.
It does, but like I haven't really found a couple of games that I haven't really been sold to actually get one yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Like Breath of the Wild, I've heard nothing but good, like praise about, and I really do want to play Breath of the Wild. But no matter how good a game is, one game cannot justify the purchase of a whole console. So unless Nintendo steps their quality up and quantity up, then can't really.
I'm still waiting to hear more on the new Sonic game that's supposed to be coming out for them, and then I don't know. I've never really actually seen people outside playing it. Like I think most of the time when they travel with their switches, it's usually just to the bathroom and back.
Huh. You know, that's true. Come to think of it, I haven't seen anybody outside with the Switch myself. Like, I'd see people with, like, their DS, but not an actual...
See little kids with DSs. I'm like, I'm not going to trust a little kid with a whole Switch outside. You know?
Yeah, because, you know, it's, like, too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. But, yeah.
And John Aponic's watching, too. So, and he's like, John Cena has the record for the most Make-A-Wish granted.
Oh, granted Make-A-Wish.
500.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was...
Possibly more now.
I thought it was like in the upper thousands, but oh wow, hey, I believe it. But yeah, that's about it. Let's get into these news headlines and whatnot.
Let's.
First, which I'll talk about is HBO. They're the Game of Thrones showrunners, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. They're actually planning a new series after Game of Thrones called Confederate. And it's engendered a lot of controversy on the interwebs.
Yes, it did.
It
did.
Yeah, and we'll talk a bit about that. For those who don't know, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss announced plans to launch Confederate after the end of Game of Thrones. And this show, the reason why it's controversial is that this show will depict an alternate reality where the South actually seceded from the Union post-Civil War. And it gives rise to a society where slavery has evolved and continues to exist to this day. You can imagine how controversial that is.
Yeah.
Weiss and Benioff are also working with fellow Confederate executive producers and writers, Malcolm Spellman and Nichelle Tramble Spellman. They both respectively have worked on Empire and The Good Wife. The announcement of the show has already generated controversy on social media with the hashtag #NoConfederate, with concerns over the potentially exploitative premise of the show. And it also some criticisms have also been levied at D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, given their handling of non-white characters on Game of Thrones as well. The Twitter hashtag #NoConfederate has also been created by public speaker April Rain, who famously launched the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite campaign last year. Rain also encouraged Twitter users to use the #NoConfederate hashtag in last week's episode of Game of Thrones, and the hashtag became the #1 and #2 trending topic on the platform. Also, there was an exclusive interview on Vulture with all four executive producers talking about their plans and their ideas for the show. Now, have you any thoughts about this Confederate show coming up?
I don't think I. Okay, I'm definitely a Game of Thrones fan.
Mm-hmm.
This episode was fire, by the way.
Literally.
But no, I don't think this would be a show that I just wouldn't want to see and wouldn't want to put into my spirit. Like, I don't know, it's just something I'm like, I don't think I really want to see that.
Yeah, like any particular reason why, or what kind of strikes you about it?
It just feel like because back then it was just like, you know, America was like such a dark place. And slavery was such a dark time within, in Black history. So I don't think I would want to like just relive that.
Yeah, especially if it's set in the present day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like we're already going through enough as it is. So it's like, I don't want to give it that. I just don't want to really give it my energy.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, I'm all for Game of Thrones. Even with the lack of black characters, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those things I just don't care. Like the show is just good regardless.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, as for No Confederate, I don't think I'll be tuning in on that.
Yeah, like I'm all for like audacious ideas and some that might be controversial, but with Confederate, I think it strikes me as a little tone deaf, because like you don't have to depict a reality where the South seceded from the Union or and slavery exists to this day, because when you think about it, the South lost the Civil War, but they didn't really lose the Civil War because because with slavery came the rise of Jim Crow, and now we have for past 50 decades 5 decades or so or more, we've had mass incarceration, which has seen an unprecedented rise of black men and women, mostly black men in prisons, black and brown folk, and You got a lot of people who are caught up in that system, and then you have police brutality on top of that.
Yeah, it's definitely the wrong time to even do something like that. So if anything, just take the safe route and scrap it. You know?
Yeah, it'd be one thing if it was like a quasi documentary series, like a what if thing.
Yeah, something like that I would be up for. But then the only good thing good thing about this is that it's bringing up conversation.
It does.
That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, I say it does bring up good conversation, but also one of the big reasons why I'm not comfortable with the Confederate show and the premise is that in the South you have a lot of people who fetishize the Confederate flag.
Yeah.
Like the Confederate flag is a horrible it's a hate symbol, much like the swastika, the Nazi swastika. And in fact, in Germany, the Nazi swastika is banned anywhere, especially except
in Germany.
Yeah, except like in history textbooks, or in classrooms. Yeah. Like for example, like the Wolfenstein games, like they're edited in Germany, so you don't see the swastika.
Oh damn.
Yeah, it's replaced with a whole other symbol. But like here, like the Confederate flag is like a symbol of like, oh, rebellion, heritage, not hate. No, motherfucker, it's a hate symbol. Let's be real, folks. And then you have some people in the South who want to engage in revisionist history, like with like Civil War reenactments depicting what if the South won. And it's like, nah, that's uncomfortable as fuck, man. And really slavery, what if slavery exists to this day? Are you for real? Do we really want to fetishize slavery with all the shit that's going on with police brutality and cops killing unarmed black folk? Nah, come on. I mean, I respect Benioff and Weiss as showrunners, as creative writers, but they should know better. And even with Malcolm Spellman and Nicole Tramble Spellman, even though they're black artists and writers, that doesn't really help the cause. So I'd rather not see Confederate make the airwaves, in my view. It's too tone deaf of an idea.
All right, can we please let's bring up something positive.
Yeah, let's bring up something even more positive. Let's talk about this new Death Wish trailer that just dropped, starring Bruce Willis, directed by Eli Roth.
Death Wish. I actually just watched it like before we aired.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching like the original Charles Bronson Death Wish movies.
Yeah.
I was a kid, so I had no idea what they were. I just saw him as just some badass motherfucker like killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis just doesn't seem like that badass motherfucker named Charles Bronson that I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't. It doesn't seem like it seems very lighthearted to me.
I wouldn't. I don't know if lighthearted is the word that I would use. Like watching this trailer, and this trailer played before I watched Detroit in the theater, and I was cringing in my seat because talk about tone deaf stuff. This is like, do you really want to? Okay, so let me get this straight. This new Death Wish remake stars Bruce Willis, who plays an old white dude wearing a hoodie, shooting black folk in Chicago. Do you not see how horrifying that idea is?
I didn't really think about that I did not think about that while I was watching the trailer.
Yeah, man. Like just a visual of. Okay, first of all, like the hoodie is like seen as a criminal attire, especially if young black men wear it. But you see this old white dude walking around the hood wearing a hoodie, shooting people like a goddamn vigilante, like he's Max Payne.
Oh, he is a vigilante.
Yeah, but it's like this is one of the most out of touch ideas. Like are you kidding me? Only a white director and a white writer could come up with that shit and not think about the racial implications and the potentially.
They did not think about it. I didn't even think about it when I was looking at the trailer.
Yeah.
Am I gonna watch it? Probably not.
I'm not gonna watch it either. I mean, this is something that should be banished to like straight to Redbox hell, where Bruce Willis has resided in the past few years. Yeah, he's made a lot of straight to Redbox films, man.
I can't think of any right now, so I'll just take your word for it.
Yeah. Yeah, like he made one called Once Upon a Time in Venice or something like that. But yeah,
he's got his money.
Yeah, but Death Wish, nah, dude, no, absolutely not.
Move on, please.
Yeah, let's move on to something. Now let's finally move on to something positive.
You sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
All right.
Positively positive.
All right.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. So in positive news, Netflix has purchased Millarworld. Comic book writer Mark Millar, who famously wrote Old Man Logan. He announced that Netflix has purchased his comic book company Millarworld, which is Netflix's first official acquisition. And Millarworld they published a series such as Wanted, Jupiter's Circle, Huck, Starlight, Chrononauts, just to name a few. And they also published Kick-Ass and Kingsman.
I love Kingsman. Can't wait to see this new one.
Yeah, the new one should be fire. I like the first one. Although Kingsman and Kick-Ass are not part of this Netflix deal. I think because the movies, movie rights and whatnot, they already exist. So, yeah. But, hey, you know what? I'm interested in seeing what Mark Millar can bring to the table and Netflix. I know John Haponic is not the biggest Mark Millar fan. And to be honest...
Damn, he hates everything good.
Well, to be fair, like I really like Old Man Logan a lot. But I don't care for Kick-Ass.
I actually never seen Kick-Ass.
Yeah, you're not really missing anything.
I'll check it out. Kingsman was mediocre. Kingsman was pretty dope.
Kingsman was a fun movie, and it had a cheeky ending.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, and I'll definitely check out
I went to the movies and saw that one. I actually had a great time too.
Yeah. I watched it on Blu-ray, and I really liked it. I'll check out the second one.
Okay, yeah. Kyle Chapman says Kingsman was mediocre and Kick-Ass was great.
Nah.
I'm gonna check. I gotta check out Kingsman. And Unexpected. I'll check out Kick-Ass. I gotta check out Kick-Ass. Parts 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, I watched the first one, and I really liked the idea. It had a good idea, but the execution was kind of blah to me. But you can agree to disagree on that score.
Yeah, it happens all the time on this show.
Yeah, for sure. What's next on here? Yes, next news, Daniel Craig will return as James Bond, despite his initial claims that he would rather slice his wrists than star in another Bond film. And after Daniel Craig has confirmed with Eon Productions and MGM, and he will return for the next Bond film, which will be his 5th outing in the franchise. Bond producers Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli will oversee the film, and screenwriters Neil Purvis and Robert Wade will write the script, and they previously wrote all 4 of Daniel Craig's Bond films. There's no word on who's going to be directing the next movie, although Christopher Nolan has expressed an interest along the way.
I really would like to see a Christopher Nolan James Bond movie.
Yeah, me too. I would like to see his style.
When he changes minds, pretty much, yeah.
It does, and I hope that that his next Bond film will be much better than Spectre, because Spectre was pretty disappointing.
Sure.
Yeah, have you seen any of the Daniel Craig Bond films?
I have not.
Really?
Yeah, I have not.
Okay.
I always said I want to watch it. Just never got around to see it.
Okay, start off with Casino Royale, which is his first one. Quantum of Solace. Quantum of Solace gets a bad rap, but I thought it was a good sequel, although it's kind of flawed. But Skyfall is his best one, hands down. That's the 3rd movie he did.
It's the one that Adele did the song for, it.
Yeah, and Javier Bardem plays the villain. That movie is awesome. I think that's my favorite Bond film, in fact. Yeah.
I'm off for it. How do you guys feel about Call of Duty World War II? I like Call of Duty. It's fun. I'll check it out.
Oh, okay. So Call of Duty, I think I saw that it's returned to its World War II roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything old is new again.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And last headline here, which kind of dovetails into our main topic, Hulu has acquired ABC's TGIF lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Hulu will provide Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step, Perfect Strangers, and Hanging with Mr. Cooper on September 29. Hulu is also currently working on acquiring the streaming rights to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, if they do that, I'll never leave the house. I can watch Fresh Prince over and over again.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite sitcoms right there. You cannot hate on Fresh Prince.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
That is actually timeless.
Yeah, I used to have a crush on both Tatiana Ali and Karen Parsons.
I still do.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, they still look good. Yeah. And that kind of dovetails into our main topic, which is, Carl, you want to take it away, kind of set the scene?
All right, so we at the Codex Prime Podcast, we always like to dive into our favorites, but once again, we're giving you guys some snout.
Some chitlins. TV chitlins.
Some people like Fresh Prince was terrible. Kyle, come on, bro.
Dude, bruh, hold on. Kyle, listen. People talk about me being a supervillain. Nah, you are the supervillain. You are the supervillain MVP.
Okay, he said he was joking.
All right, yeah.
He said he was joking.
All right, I'm about to go ham. I'm about to reach through that webcam and, strangle you. But okay, cool.
All right. So we're going to talk about our throwback TV shows that we just did not like.
Yeah, and also television shows that we used to like, shows that had a spark when they started, but at the end, they just became garbage.
Okay. So I think I'll start it off. One show I did not like, Even Stevens.
I've never actually watched Even Stevens.
You have no you ain't missing nothing.
Yeah, what was that? Who was in that show? What was it about?
Shia LaBeouf, and he had a sister, and I just didn't like it. I was just like, this show's stupid. And that was it.
Yeah, I think that was on the Disney Channel.
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Yeah, okay.
That you probably may disagree with me on this one, but I didn't like Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. Never really watched Growing Pains either. I watched a handful of episodes, but not enough to really have an opinion. Was that the one with Tony Danza?
No, that's Who's the Boss.
Oh, okay.
Growing Pains was Alan Thicke, Kirk Cameron, Leonardo DiCaprio was in it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Kirk Cameron. Oh my god, he turned into like a
he's a like pastor now.
Yeah, he's like a hyper religious Jesus nut.
Just say pastor, Jesus.
No, because like he's batshit crazy with his beliefs, man.
He's a pastor. I'll just leave it at that. Everybody's entitled. Hey, whatever makes whatever makes your life better, I'm all for it.
He's homophobic too.
Like I said, you know me. I try to have fun. I don't want to get into all that.
All right.
Now, this one I'm definitely gonna get cut. No, he's a cult leader.
Thank you. Who's that?
That's my boy Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie. He is a cult leader. Like you go watch some of his videos on YouTube, and the dude is tapped, man. He's tapped.
All right. Okay, you're gonna cuss me out for this one, guaranteed.
All right, what you got?
I never liked Seinfeld.
I've never really watched Seinfeld, so there you go.
I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this one too on the Facebook Live, but yeah, I did not like Seinfeld.
Now, how come? This is interesting. I want to hear this because Seinfeld was like one of the most popular, if not the most popular sitcom of the '90s.
Yeah, I just didn't get into it.
Now, what was it about? What was about the show that didn't really pique your interest?
I just couldn't get into it. I really just couldn't get into it. At that time, the jokes weren't funny to me. It was just a little too corny.
Yeah, I mean, the humor is definitely on the dry side. Something that's very like.
Oh, okay. There's other people that didn't like the show, so I appreciate it. Eddie, Kyle, Jordan.
Yeah, and plus, it definitely it's infamous for having one of the most poorly regarded series finales as well, where they all ended up in prison. Well, not prison, but jail.
That was it.
Yeah, because it turns out that they're all horrible people. Yeah, but
the thing is, I think Jerry Seinfeld is actually pretty funny.
He is.
Like, as a comedian, I just did not like the show.
Yeah, I mean the show is definitely an acquired taste. Like if you're a fan of like dry humor and just like in jokes and all that. Although I will say that Julia Louis-Dreyfus is fine.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, and I still really need
the New Adventures of Old Christine?
Okay,
I think that's the name of the show, but
and she's also on. She does, and I also I also really need to get into Veep, her show on HBO.
I saw it, but I didn't. I don't know if I'll get into it. I'll let you do it and let you review it.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
You can represent both of us on that one.
Yeah, and and I was going to say Michael Richards as Kramer. Remember that infamous incident back in 2006?
Oh yeah, I didn't even pay attention. So I was like, you know what? He's gonna catch out. I haven't really seen him in shit either.
Yeah. Yeah. Come to think of it, the only person that really had anything like a substantial career was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and to a certain extent Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How about them apples?
And we're not missing much with Veep, according to Kyle.
Well, I don't know. Kyle kind of you kind of strike me as a bit of a contrarian, so I'm a watch and I'm a judge for myself because I like I'm into politics and political humor. So
That bullshit.
hey, listen, man, listen. If
Although House of Cards is good, House of Cards is definitely good. I still need to get back up on that one.
yeah, I don't know. Like for some reason I tried to pick up that show again after the second season. I just can't get into it anymore. I don't know why. The show's missing that something from me. I don't know, but I'll give it another shot though.
Yeah, you still gotta watch Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'll prioritize that over House of Cards.
Now that Curtis Parvin, who was there last week, mentioned that it has a lot to do with Shakespeare, which it does.
Yep, I can see that.
Probably tickled your fancy a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like having my fancy tickled.
By all means, listen, you go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
On your own time. Space Cases.
Oh snap! I remember that show on Nickelodeon.
I stopped watching Snick.
You know what? I liked Space Cases. I did.
Didn't do it for me.
Although
It just seemed like a cheap kiddie Star Trek.
I mean, it was. I mean, I'll give you that. It was like a sort of cheap kid Star Trek, but it was a show that like I liked. You know, I mean,
I couldn't get into it. I actually stopped watching Snick
really.
because of that. I didn't really get into it until All That and Keenan and Kel came. And yeah, until All That came into the mix, I did not watch Snick anymore.
I mean, okay. But I will say with Space Cases, I mean, I think the dumbest moment for me on the show was where I think it was at the end of the first season where one of the main characters, this girl, died, and then like throughout the first season, she kept alluding to an imaginary friend that she talked to, and everyone thought she was joking. But then once she died, the imaginary friend actually actually popped out in real life, fully formed. And then it turned out that like the original character that died became her new imaginary friend.
You ain't missing nothing.
It was really weird.
Yeah, I just couldn't get. I was like, nope. I just turned on Nintendo at that time.
Yeah.
Cat Dog, I did not like.
Yeah, I didn't get into that either.
Cat Dog and Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, I remember the Courage.
It was just too weird. It was just weird to me. Those shows are just weird.
Yeah, like
And just Cat Dog. How did they poop?
that's what I was gonna say. Like, cause like one end was a cat and the other end was a dog.
Yeah, so it was like how. It was just weird to me. It just looked like weird.
Yeah.
Not bestiality. What was it?
It was like some weird like genetic
Yeah.
experiment gone horribly wrong, and then it's like you wonder how they procreate. Like, is one end the giver and the one end the receiver? And it's like I
Are
don't
they
get.
even currently having sex at the bar? Like you wouldn't even know. Like
Yeah.
this is weird. Encourage the Cowardly Dog. Doug did not suck. Doug did not suck, Kyle.
Did he say Doug sucks?
Yeah.
Yo, listen. You need to slow your roll. Doug was the shit. I really liked Doug. What was that?
No. My friend is like, I'm telling Keith because Keith used to like Cat Dog. I did not like Cat Dog. I just couldn't get into it. Encourage the Cowardly Dog was an acid trip to me.
Yeah, it kind of had that weird dry humor like Rocko's Modern Life, or like
But Rocko's Modern Life was good.
yeah, still is. Yeah.
But okay, so there's two shows that I did watch, but they definitely would not hold up today.
Okay.
They wouldn't even they were in the 90s. They didn't even hold up in 2000.
Yeah.
VR Troopers
Oh my god, I remember that show.
and Superhuman Samurai Syber-Squad.
Holy shit. Oh my god. Power Rangers was a shit back in the day, and it had a slew of like Power Rangers knockoffs. Those two are are two of the worst ones. Man, I remember VR Troopers, man.
I think it was like Professor Hart was like their Voltron and stuff. It was just
Yeah, or Zordon, I think.
yeah, they have Zordon. Yeah, my bad. It just wasn't. It is like they tried too hard to catch up to what Power Rangers was doing, and it just could not happen.
Yeah.
I don't even think it lasted like one season.
I think it lasted a couple of seasons at the very least.
Big Bad Beetleborgs I didn't like either.
That sounds familiar. I don't know if I've seen
It was on Fox.
Okay. There was another show. There was another Power Rangers ripoff too that came out around the mid '90s. It was on the USA Network. It was called Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills, and it looked even cheaper than VR Troopers and it made VR Troopers and Superheroes Samurai Cyber-Squad, whatever it's called.
Superhuman Samurai Cyber-Squad.
It made those shits look like Avatar in comparison. That was how cheap that show was.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, and apparently, like, in that show, Tattooed Teenage Beverly Hill Fighter Men, Women, whatever, I forget the name of it already. Like, their Zordon was like literally a blob, a green blob. That was it.
Was it live action?
It was live action, and you could tell it took place on a soundstage. It was horrible.
I do not remember that one.
Nah, nobody. I'd be surprised if anybody would, because it was on the USA Network.
USA. I think USA. Well, USA only had like one cartoon.
Yeah,
And I actually liked it.
Oh, which one? Which one was that?
Duckman.
Oh yeah, I remember Duckman. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I do not remember that one. I have to Google that one. I have to Google that now.
Yeah, Google it. There probably would be some clips on YouTube. You'll be amazed at how cheap as shit it looks. Whew.
But that's my short list.
Okay.
It was short.
Yeah, that was a short list of shows.
I liked a lot of shows.
Hey, I did too. As for my list tends.
This is gonna be good.
My list tends to more modern shows, but there is one 90s show that I want to talk about that me, you, and I'm sure a lot of our friends used to like as kids. It was probably one of our most beloved sitcoms. Mm-hmm. But this is a show that for me, as the years went on, when I got older, I revisited episodes, and I realized that this show doesn't really quite hold up.
Oh, God.
It kind of sucks in several ways.
It does not suck.
The show that I'm referring to, the show that doesn't hold up, is Family Matters.
Family Matters still holds up.
Family Matters
If Family Matters did not hold up, why does Hulu have it now? Why is it still in syndication?
Let me tell you something right now. Family Matters is a show that it's a show that defines jumping the shark. This show became goddamn ridiculous. It went from an ordinary sitcom, which admittedly started off boring until Steve Urkel hijacked the show, and it became the Urkel and Them show. It should have been called Urkel and the Family, but this show devolved. The show
went south when they replaced Harriet.
No. It went south way beyond that. It went way beyond that. This show went from.
Urkelbot?
Hold on.
Urkelbot?
This is one of my problems.
Who's played by Turbo from Breaking?
Listen. Family Matters went from an ordinary sitcom to a goddamn ridiculous science fiction fantasy show. Steve Urkel was basically Tony Stark and a mad scientist.
That was awesome. That was awesome, dog. The transformation chamber when him and Carl turned into Bruce Lee. You are not going to tell me that wasn't dope.
That shit was hilarious.
That shit was
goddamn ridiculous. Goddamn ridiculous. That whole show was goddamn. Matter of fact, you watched Key and Peele, right?
I know you're about to refer to the Carl Winslow skit.
Yeah,
I have not seen it.
That Carl Winslow skit nails it. Where Jordan Peele plays Reginald Vell Johnson or Carl Winslow, and he basically runs down how ridiculous the show became. What was it? The show became goddamn Quantum Leap. You had a series where Steve Urkel created a goddamn time machine, and he and Carl Winslow traveled back in time to like the 1700s, where they ended up on a goddamn pirate ship. What the fuck?
That was fun. That was fun.
And then you had Steve Urkel. He creates a teleportation.
Even John. Hopefully he agrees with me.
Urkelbot, come on. I mean, the Turbo from Breaking thing. I mean, that kind of gives that is hilarious. But come on, Urkelbot. That was ridiculous. But that was one of the least ridiculous things. Also,
New Edition on the show.
Were they like performing?
Yeah, they performed, and they performed. They went to a New Edition concert, but because Carl and Harriet missed it, because they were taking care of the to the kids at the time. One of them plays on like All My Children or something now. Yeah, and so New Edition came to the house and performed "Still in Love with You." You know that you can't tell me that wasn't a dope moment.
I actually don't remember that moment. I'll take
YouTube.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
There was a wrestling episode. I can't remember it though.
The Bushwhackers.
You can't hate the Bushwhackers.
No, I don't. Listen,
they were the Bushwhackers.
I don't hate the Bushwhackers, but
Geraldo Faldo.
He was a dumbass. But anyway,
That was his character.
I know he was a dumbass, but he was a gifted chef. But still, yeah, but we're going all over the place. But let me go back to Steve, and then we'll unpack these one by one. Then you had Steve Urkel. He created a goddamn teleportation device where he teleports the whole family and himself to France. To fucking France, and where he, as Stefan Urkel, we'll get into him in a second, he proposes to Laura Winslow. And you know what? Let me tell you something else too. That really.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you something else that really gets my goat about this show. Right?
Gets your what?
That really gets my goat about this show.
Gets your goat. Burn my beans. Gets your goat. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got Steve Urkel. This motherfucker who's apparently so brilliant. He's a brilliant master inventor. He shouldn't even be in high school. He should be working for MIT and NASA. He should be patenting. He
did end up going to NASA.
Oh yeah, I remember that final episode.
It was bad. It was during Bad Harry episode. So
right, and he should have been patenting his inventions. He should have created like Urkel Stark Industries. He should have been a goddamn billionaire. But what does he do? What does he do? He spends 9 motherfucking seasons crushing hard, standing hard, worshiping at the feet of his unrequited crush until the final season, Laura Lee Winslow.
And hold on. He did have Myra.
Let me tell you something right now.
Myra was.
Listen, hold on. Myra Boutros Monkhouse was fine. She was.
God rest her soul.
God rest her soul. Michelle Thomas, R.I.P. She was
bad.
Yo, she was my hot nerd crush. And you know, I don't mean to be lewd over here, but yo, her chess game was on point. How you doing? But yo, she was my hot nerd crush. I loved Myra Monkhouse. And you know what? And that was one of my other big problems with Steve Urkel. He had Myra Monkhouse who loved him not for his looks or his attire, but she loved him for who he was. She loved him for his brains, his intellect, his earnestness.
And he still wanted Laura.
And
that was the truth. And that was the true love.
No, that wasn't true love. It bothers the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
It bothers the fuck out of me that Urkel had this perfect woman made just for him. Who was a hot nerd.
Did she die like during the show?
No, she died after the show ended.
Was it after the show ended?
Yeah.
Okay. But that was when she got sick with the cancer, though, so she had to leave the show.
Yeah, she did.
So
you
kind of had to.
No, but here's my thing. Myra was the perfect character for him, and who accepted his flaws, how annoying, how aggressively irritating he was. And she took him for who he was. And Steven Urkel, he crushed her heart. He was like, and for a time, he was feeling Myra, as he should. Yeah. But then he was like, oh, but my heart is with Laura Lee Winslow.
I used to nail Urkel's voice before like puberty hit.
Did I do that? Look what you did.
The only person who can cause thousands of dollars of damages in your house and still make sexual advantages on your daughter.
Yo. Okay, you know what? And the fact that he fell in love with Laura, and then Laura eventually gave in.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, let me tell you something right now.
You know what? That just proves. You know what? That proves. That's like Forrest Gump. That actually proves that eventually you can get out the friend zone. Yeah, it ends up too late. Like in Forrest Gump, she ended up catching AIDS and stuff, and you're like, you know what? Let me just entrap him because he became a millionaire at the time. Let me just entrap him, have his kid. Well, have his AIDS baby,
Well, that's a cynical view. I don't think.
But am I right?
I mean, you're right in many of those respects, and the fact that he technically does have AIDS, I guess. And the kid too. But anyway, we're getting too dark here.
Trapped him.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever. Ghetto logic. But yeah, he. But the fact that he was crushing on Laura. Laura was rebuffing his advances for years upon years upon years, and then she falls in love with him. Come the fuck on! In real life, she should have filed a goddamn restraining order. Don't come to my motherfucking house within 500 goddamn feet. And here's another thing too that pisses me off about Steven Urkel. This motherfucker caused thousands upon thousands, maybe.
I just said that.
I was gonna get to that. Like you said, he caused hundreds of thousands of dollars in property damage. Right. And mind you, Carl Otis Winslow was a Chicago police officer. You mean to tell me
ill insurance plan, home insurance
he must have had the illest insurance plan ever. But you mean to tell me that with this motherfucker coming in your house, causing mad property damage, blowing holes in your roof, holes in your wall, and all this, you mean to tell me that Carl, he couldn't round up a small group of his fellow corrupt, dirty cop Chicago PD people?
He didn't mess with the dirty cops.
No. No.
He didn't mess with the dirty cops because remember the episode when the dirty cop pulled over his son?
Oh, that's right. I do remember that episode. Yeah. And
exactly. He had to school.
Yeah, he did school him. But I'm saying because of institutional racism in the police department and all that, you think Carl Winslow he could have gotten his boy Lieutenant Murtaugh and a few of their crooked cops to abduct Steve Urkel from his house at the dead of night. They could have dumped mad clips in his body, dumped his body into a vacant lot, and nobody will be able to pin the case on him. Carl, as a Chicago cop, he could have done that shit. You mean something? You want to come into my house?
He had integrity, but I see why he didn't do it, but I would understand. I understand why he should have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm kind of glad he didn't.
Right.
Have a good show.
I'm just saying that you caused mad property damage and you try to hit on my daughter. Nah, motherfucker. No, I'm gonna dump your body in a motherfucking vacant lot. And he could have done that too. And then right. Then you mentioned the Bushwhackers episode, right? That was one of the dumbest episodes because
I don't remember the Bushwhackers. I don't remember the
Bushwhackers. Well, the whole context was that apparently, I guess Carl and Steve they accidentally drugged the tag team that was supposed to fight the Bushwhackers, and so they had to take their place.
Okay, I would have to revisit that one.
And so the match became a shoot when the Bushwhackers found out that Carl was a cop, and the Bushwhackers hate cops, so they ended up going into a full-on shoot on Carl and Steve, and their lives were in actual danger. And then, oh my gosh, and then Steve Urkel. Let me tell you something. Were you a fan of Steve Urkel? Did you like him as a character?
I wasn't a fan. I mean, I kind of got tormented because kids used to tell me I looked like him back in the day. Shut your mouth. But shut up.
I can see it.
Fuck you.
Put some spectacles, some suspenders. Like you can pull it off.
Yeah, I used to do that. I don't know. I just kind of dealt with it because I just enjoyed the show just in time. I enjoyed that whole TGIF lineup.
Yeah.
Family Matters, Boy Meets World, Step by Step, which was a modern day Brady Bunch at the time.
Yeah.
And Dinosaurs.
Oh yeah. But here's another.
Shut up, Edmund.
But here's the thing though. About Steve Urkel. I found him irritating as fuck. He was a pop culture icon of the 90s, and he even had his own cereal. But god damn it, he was fucking annoying.
Do the Urkel.
What the fuck is the Urkel? What the fuck is the Urkel dance? What is this shit?
He was a nerd. He had no rhythm. You actually like nailed that.
That was on some like Pee Wee Herman having an epileptic seizure. What the fuck was that, man? And
yes, Edmund, Dinosaurs was the shit.
It was a shit, and I'll get into Dinosaurs. It was a good show. I like Dinosaurs, but you got to admit, you remember the series finale of Dinosaurs? How depressing it was.
No, I do not.
Oh man, well, I'll get into that in a second, but
Yep. See, even Edmondson said you did nail it. You did nail it.
You see that ridiculous.
That means you didn't have to have rhythm to do it.
And I bet you, with hip hop being what it is, that Urkel dance could come back in a major way and it'll be another dance fad. I would not be surprised.
Possibly, just have some little kid do it to a trap beat, and you're good.
Yeah, and then there's one more thing about Family Matters that I really didn't like: the fact Stefan Urkel. So Laura's been, she doesn't like Steve Urkel. She's been rebuffing his advances for years, and then when this motherfucker drinks this cool juice. I mean, and here's another thing: he was a fucking DNA engineer. He could have. Another thing, mad scientist thing. He drinks this cool juice, and then he becomes Stefan Urkel, which is basically like
a hit version of Steve.
Yeah, basically like Jaleel White, just like amped up a bit for TV. And so he starts talking mad suave, mad smooth. He starts dressing better. His posture is better. And then Laura Lee Winslow falls in love with him because he's confident and he doesn't sound like a nerd.
Even Brandon was like, "Yo, Stefan was the shit."
here's my problem with the
As
whole
I
character.
grew older, that's when people was like, "Okay, you don't look like Steve now. You look like Stefan." I'm like,
But
just don't
the
look
thing
like
was
that
like
guy, Perry.
he was the same person. He was basically the same person. So basically, like if Steve Urkel, if he just if he switched up his attire and started getting better posture, Laura would have fallen in love with him. Come on now. And then here's another reason why Family Matters is so goddamn ridiculous. The motherfucker clones himself. He clones himself. So there's a Stefan Urkel clone running around.
Brandon just missed it. The Bruce Lee episode was funny as hell.
The Bruce Lee episode was dumb as fuck. I mean, it was funny at the time when I was a kid, but it's dumb as fuck, man. You gotta admit. You know what? I will watch it on Hulu. Is it available on Hulu now? No, September 29th. September 29. And there was one other thing too that bothered me about Family Matters as well. All right. Oh man, I got so many things. Oh, I gotta hear this. What's this?
Brandon said he sounds jaded because of shallow bitches. Why you say that, Brandon?
What does that? What does that even mean?
Please skip over it. Don't even try.
Anyway, like here's the one thing that really gets under my skin. This is one of the reasons why Family Matters doesn't hold up. You have like at the end of every episode, you know how at the end of every at the end of every episode, not just for Family Matters but for many sitcoms, where you had the lesson episode where you have somebody providing the lesson or the moral of the story, and you hear that cheesy, schmaltzy, manipulative piano music playing in the background as they're delivering their their lesson of the day. Every time I heard that in Family Matters, I physically cringed because it was shameless emotional manipulation. You didn't have to shamelessly emotionally manipulate your viewers. We get the lesson, as heavy-handed as it may be. Got it. You didn't have to play that schmaltzy piano music in the background. It made.
I can't wait to re-listen to this.
Me too. Like it made Family Matters episodes unwatchable at that point, where I had to stop or press the mute button because I couldn't stand those moments. It was too schmaltzy and cheesy. It's like, man, these moments give me diabetes. And you know what? Here's another question about Family Matters. Whatever happened to their youngest daughter, Judy Winslow?
They wrote her off. I just read an article about it too, and I completely forgot. But because it was a Millarworld production.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of them had that shit.
Yeah, they did write her off, but didn't she come back?
No, she never came back.
She never came back?
No, she just went to her room and she never came back down. And they never acknowledged her. They never acknowledged that they even had a daughter.
Oh yeah, that is true. She ended up doing porn.
Yeah, she did. Unfortunately, I mean, because I think her parents kind of fleeced her off the money she made off the show, and then as she got older, she became a pornographic actress by the name of Crave. And yes,
she did grow up to be pretty. So
I mean, I give her that. But man, what a come down though.
Yeah. Oh God, you ever see Maya Campbell?
Oh yeah, I've heard her story.
In the house. Ooh.
Yeah, I heard. It's like she was battling with mental illness as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's all jacked up.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, like Jamie Foxworth, who played Judy. It was like, I wish they gave her like a proper finale. Like maybe
she just comes down the room like, hey, where you been? I was in my room.
Yeah, something like that, or maybe she died at one of Steve Urkel's inventions. Something,
I got it. All right. What's your other shows?
All right. Yeah.
You're getting tired. You're gonna end up getting tired before you reach your other shows.
I know, but yeah, I just had a lot to say about Family Matters because a lot of people like it, but like I said,
every sitcom had a lesson learned except Seinfeld.
Yeah, because Seinfeld.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because Seinfeld was admittedly, as they say, a show about nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my spiel on Family Matters. If you might it might still be a beloved show among our people, among many fans, but you know what? It really doesn't hold up. Trust me. A couple other shows that started great but ended up turning shitty. These are more modern examples. One show that epitomizes that for me is Dexter. Have you
never watched Dexter, but go ahead.
All right. Dexter was a show that lasted 8 seasons, stars Michael C. Hall. He plays a serial killer who kills other killers. And he's like a forensic scientist in his day job. The first 4 seasons were awesome. The first 4 seasons were on point, and the 4th season was the best one. That starred John Lithgow as the Trinity Killer.
From Third Rock from the Sun?
Yeah, he plays the serial killer on that. He plays the Trinity Killer, and he was actually the best villain on the show. And each of the seasons has different villains. And Dexter, his sister Deborah, she's a detective. I forget the actress who plays her, but like she's one of the main characters on the show. The show had a good premise, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first 4 seasons are good, but then season 5 onwards, the show really dipped in quality. And I will say that, and this is kind of a spoiler for the 4th.
Well, Kyle says best show ever.
Well,
he said, Carl, tell him don't disrespect the GOAT show.
What's the GOAT show?
Greatest of all time.
I know what GOAT stands for, but what does he mean? What does he refer to?
He's talking about Dexter.
No. I gotta say, season 4. They should have ended it at season 4 because I'm gonna spoil it for people who haven't seen it. Because why not? Okay, season 4 ends with Dexter. He gets one over the Trinity Killer, but he comes home to find his wife Rita dead in his bathtub. So she's like the final victim. So that kind of shows how Dexter's own crime fighting crusade, being a serial killer who murders other criminals, catches up with him. Now, season 5. It starts to dip where he gets a new girlfriend played by Julia Stiles, this character Lumen, and it's like a really redundant season where it's like, oh yeah, Dexter can't really find love because of who he is, and he's gonna get people close to him killed. Okay, season 6 becomes worse where it stars Colin Hanks and Edward James Olmos as like this like quasi mentor student serial killer relationship, and it becomes a Fight Club situation where Colin Hanks is imagining Edward James Olmos as his mentor. It turns out that Edward James Olmos doesn't exist, that Colin Hanks has been the killer the whole time, and it was a really dumb fucking season. That was probably the worst season on record. Season 7 actually returns to form, where Lieutenant Huerta, played by Lauren Velez, who was on New York Undercover, she plays.
I still got a crush on her today.
Yeah, she's a twin. Yeah, but she's fine. She is hot. But she's a terrific actress. Like she plays a Lieutenant Huerta, and she becomes captain, and she starts to suspect that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher, which is the moniker that they give Dexter. She finds out that Dexter is a killer. At the end of season 7, Lieutenant Huerta is killed by Dexter's sister Deborah in order to cover his tracks. And so season 8 continues the quality, but halfway through season 8, the show nosedives, where it takes some stupid ass directions. Where at the end, Dexter's sister Deborah gets killed, and well, she doesn't get killed. She takes a slug to the stomach, and she ends up falling into this medical coma, and then she dies when a blood clot from her stomach wound reaches her brain, and she dies. And so Dexter, what does he do? He takes his sister Deborah out of the hospital, and what does he do? He disposes her like he did to all his victims by taking her all the way out into Miami Bay and dumping her body overboard and sinking her into the depths below. And then he rides into a hurricane. And then the show ends. The show ends with him working as a lumberjack.
That's it?
That's it. That was the dumbest. That was one of the dumbest fucking finales I've ever seen, because he was never caught. He was never caught by any of the other cops, and 2, the couple of other cops that did suspect him or did eventually learn his truth, they were like, that's all right, that's fine. Fuck Dexter. You know what? I'm more mad at myself because I should have stopped at season 4, and I should have listened to Aris, because I think Aris stopped at season 5 because that's when he said that the show became garbage. I should have really listened to him because I stuck with all 8 seasons, and the show lost a lot of goodwill for me with those, especially with the last 4 seasons, especially the season finale. That season finale was trash, and it definitely tarnished the whole show for me. So for me, Dexter is is on my list of worst shows. A show that had great promise, that was great, and then it ended up being shitty.
I see these DVDs at Walmart, but I was like, I never even watched it.
Yeah, don't bother. Like, I will say, watch the first 4 seasons and then pretend season 4 was the series finale, and then go about the rest of your day.
All right, so what's next for you?
Another show that that I used to like, but then when I think about it more and more, it gets me mad, and it makes me angrier that I spent many years invested in it. Was Lost.
I ain't watched Lost either.
Yeah,
You're on that boat alone.
Lost. It was a show that had a few excellent seasons. Like the first 2 seasons were great.
Facebook Live is kind of popping right now. They're kind of having their own little conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
Talking about New York Undercover. Luke Cage. Eddie says New York Undercover was fire until they killed off the white and Spanish guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they threw Tommy in there.
Yeah.
Once they threw Tommy in there, I was like, that was it.
Yeah. R.I.P. Thomas Michael Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That was one because New York.
He ended up getting a job.
He did.
Tommy ended up getting a job.
I was like, okay, that's why he couldn't tell anybody. He was a detective, but
in New York when Martin took place in Detroit. But go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, New York Undercover. Like at the end of the 3rd season, when they killed off Michael De Lorenzo's character Eddie Torres, they killed off the whole show. I totally agree. Yeah, but I pretend that the 4th season never happened, and I pretend I pretend like with New York Undercover, I pretend that the series ended when Eddie Torres and his lady, I forget it was Lauren Velez's character, I forget her name. It was a scene when they got married finally. I pretend that's when the series ended. That's the final scene. Cut. You don't have to watch anything else after that. But yeah, but getting back to Lost. Lost is another series where it was built as like this mystery show where you had all these characters their plane crash lands on this mysterious island which has all these weird sci-fi fantastical energies and powers that happen.
So basically, what was that show? Land of the Lost?
Kind of, but not. It's not a time travel tale. Well, It kind of is technically, but the whole show, like, it raised a whole bunch of questions, and it was a really and it had awesome characters. I give it that. But my problem with the show Lost was that it built itself as a mystery. It raised like 30 questions per episode, and then like for every question that it answered, it would raise 30 more questions, and then towards the final season, it turned out that many of the mysteries about the island turned out to be like either red herrings or stuff that just wasn't really that important at all.
Yeah, John Aponic and Jess do agree with you.
Yeah. And then the final episode left a bad taste in my mouth where they not only kill off the rest of the minority or people of color characters, the ethnic characters, but it ends where it turns out that the flashbacks in the final season, because in Lost you learn about the characters through their flashbacks in the present day when they're on the island. It turns out that the flashbacks in season 6, the final season of Lost, were actually not flashbacks at all. They took place in the afterlife. And the final scene was where Jack died. He discovers that it wasn't a flashback, that Jack discovers that he was actually dead too. And they all ended up in this church. They all reunite, and then like somebody opens the church doors and all this light comes pouring in, and then that's it. That's how the show ends. It didn't really answer any of the greater mysteries about the island. It didn't answer any mysteries about the others that inhabited the island long before the people crash landed. And it definitely showed how Damon Lindelof is poison when it comes to writing. When it comes to writing, period. Because anytime I see Damon Lindelof's name on something, I refuse to watch it. Yeah, because Damon Lindelof will take something that's a straightforward narrative. He'll include a bunch of unnecessarily convoluted bullshit to make it nonsensical and frustrating. Like he'll introduce a lot of plot holes into an otherwise initially tight screenplay. The most perfect example of that, besides Lost, was the film Prometheus. Prometheus should not have been disappointing, but Damon Lindelof, he rubbed his stank all over that shit.
Was Prometheus, that was supposed to be a prequel to Alien, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and man, Lost was a fucking disappointment at the end. And you know what? I'm more mad at myself because I actually bought all the DVD sets.
Sell them.
Oh, I sold them a long time ago,
okay.
long ago. But man, that was a show that I shouldn't have wasted like a good 6 years of my life.
Wasn't another one that pissed you off Heroes?
Heroes, I've only watched like 3 episodes of the first season, but then I got the sense that this show wasn't going to last long.
didn't.
Yeah, and it really didn't.
Honestly, the only thing I remember about Heroes was like during one of the commercials they used Nas's Hero, and I really liked that song at the time.
Yeah, that is a good song.
That's all I remember out of it. I never really got into the show.
Yeah. And also, the last show that really pissed me off at the end was Battlestar Galactica, the new series with the Edward James Olmos. That show it had excellent writing for like the majority of its run. And it was like a sci-fi series where like the last remnants of humanity are forced to travel throughout space. Because like their home planet was destroyed by the Cylons, and the Cylons are these basically androids, cyborgs. They assume human form, and they're trying to subjugate humanity, the remnants of humanity.
Hold on, I don't mean to interrupt. So Mike Medina is logged on.
Okay.
Talking mad junk, but he said when will Congo be back on? The Tuesday after SummerSlam. That's when we'll be back on.
That's right. Right.
So look forward to that episode.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Battlestar Galactica. Okay, so you have this whole series where the humanity is trying to not only battle the Cylons, but they're actually trying to find Earth. And the series supposedly takes place in the far, far distant future where humanity has colonized different planets, and the main planet, the main home of humanity, which is I believe it was a planet called Caprica. It was destroyed by the Cylons. So they're trying to. So the humanity they're flying through space trying to find this legendary planet called Earth. The series ends. The reason why this series leaves a bad taste in my mouth is throughout the whole series, and not that this leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like one of the big themes about the show is religion, and how religion kind of clashes with science. And it's like, and it definitely yielded a lot of very interesting questions, which I really appreciated, but. The series ends where humanity discovers Earth. They finally discover Earth. But then it turns out that the Earth they discover was actually prehistoric. So technically, Battlestar Galactica takes place during the prehistoric era. And the last remnants of humanity actually gave birth to modern-day humans, us. And then the show fast forwards millions and millions of years into the present day, where you see the Cylons. You don't know if they're real or imagined. They're walking down the streets in New York, and they're like, "Well, it's a cyclical thing. Humanity will create technology, and then it will be their downfall all over again, and the cycle begins anew." And that's how the show ended. And then, mind you. When humanity discovered the prehistoric Earth, they took their remaining technology, all their ships, all their technology, all their computers and whatnot, cures for diseases, flew them right into the sun. Because they thought that hey, you know what, technology got us this far, but you know what, it was more trouble than it's worth because of the Cylons. So we're gonna start fresh. We're gonna destroy all remaining technology. The whole and then there was one character played by Katie Sackhoff. Katie Sackhoff,
okay,
who plays this badass fighter pilot. I forget her name. I think it was Kyra. I believe her name is Kyra. She plays a character a badass fighter pilot who disappears at the end of like one of the either the third or fourth season, and then she comes back mysteriously, like she comes back from an incident which would have killed anybody. Her ship basically blows up. In the end. She just disappears. In the end, like she's talking with one of the other characters, and then like he's talking to her, like she's standing right beside him on prehistoric Earth, and then he turns around to like survey the horizon, and then when he's talking, he turns back to his right, and then Katie Sackhoff is nowhere to be found. She just disappears, like she just vanishes. So it implies that at this whole time she was just an imaginary character. Man, now that I'm talking about it, Battlestar Galactica, man, that was a stupid fucking finale too. That was another great example of how you had an initially great show with great writing and great performances, and then the writers and the creators somehow they got lost. They disappeared up their own collective asses and thought that, man, we're gonna end in a profound life is cyclical, man message. Get the fuck out of here. That show was fucking bullshit. God damn.
That show has like a huge like cult fan like following.
It does have a huge following, and you know, for fairly good reason, because the characters and the writing for like the earlier seasons are is very, very good.
Okay.
But the finale shit on everything that came before it.
That happens.
Yeah, it was a waste of my fucking time. So that's why now that I think about it, I am hoping, wishing, and I'm not a religious man, but I'm even praying that Game of Thrones does not fall under the same fate.
So far, good. So far, we're good.
Yeah, knock on wood, man.
We got one season to go.
Yeah.
And this season has been amazing.
It has. It certainly has. So yeah, those are my shows, man.
Okay, that actually wasn't as bad as they thought. Other than the Family Matters, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah. And I'm sure many people agree with me about Family Matters. And if you do, send us your email at codexprimepodcast@gmail.com.
All right. Now we're going to get into the question of the week. Last week's question of the week was name a movie that traumatized you as a kid.
Okay.
So this one actually got like a whole bunch of response. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, for checking out the social medias. So we'll start off on Instagram. John Haponic says, Transformers from 1986. I was particularly devastated seeing Ratchet get killed. I didn't understand why they kill an ambulance. Then seeing other Autobots get killed in a variety of ways was just disturbing to watch as a 5-6-year-old kid.
All
right. Just a Concussion says, Child's Play. My grandmother owned many dolls, too. Too many. # difficult to sleep over. Shanae Wells says, Killer Clowns creep me out.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that was a freaky movie.
McDTwist_TM says, Stephen King's It scared me shitless. And Don Kelly, who was here last week with our guests.
Yeah, Drew Kelly and Curtis Parvin.
Right. He said, the trailer for Magic with Anthony Hopkins as a ventriloquist dummy freaked me out in the 70s. Never saw the movie, but I leave the room or change the channel when the commercial came on.
Oh, wow. Now I want to see that.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
So now I'll go to the Codex Facebook.
All right.
Friend of the show, Ed Figueroa from the Party Nerd said Saw for sure. I think the first or the third Leprechaun movie as well. Saw, that was just my birthday movie for like a while. Probably like the first 3.
Yeah, I saw the first 2 Saw movies.
Yeah. Jason Salinger says Phantasm.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay. Catherine Vachon says Cutting Class.
I haven't seen that one either.
Jelena Whitted also says It. And Chris Revel says Return to Oz.
Yeah, Return to Oz it's a bizarre film. Really bizarre.
So now I end up posting the question of the week on my personal page.
All right.
So Remy Jones said, my dad made me watch the movie about Jesus when I was a kid, and I was traumatized when they beat him and nailed him to the cross. Scariest thing I've ever saw. So I think I was like 8 or something. I thought about those days. I thought about it for days after that, and it wasn't the Passion of the Christ. It was another one. So Nyla, my old neighbor, says Candyman. Or that one and The Dentist.
Oh, yeah. The Dentist. I think it was Dr. Giggles.
Possibly.
Yeah, I do remember Dr. Giggles.
Yeah. Tom Robinson said Candyman. That bathroom scene scared me. Afton, friend of the show, says Gremlins.
Oh.
Gizmo was the shit.
Yeah, Gizmo was cute.
Eddie Ortiz says Night of the Living Dead, the original black and white.
Yep. Yeah.
And Brandon Fernandez says Arachnophobia. Also, James Abowitz also said Arachnophobia.
Okay. Oh, really good answers.
All right. So this week, what was your all-time favorite TV theme song?
Oh. All-time favorite TV theme song.
Yeah.
Man. There's so many, and I really can't think of just one, but why don't you take this one? I gotta sit and think about it.
X-Men.
Oh yeah, of course.
You cannot get that dun 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 dun.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, you have to like hum it. You have to hum it. I mean, Saturdays at 11 o'clock. Once you heard that, once you heard that first thing, you're running to the TV.
Yeah.
Especially during the Phoenix Saga.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had the X-Men theme song as my ringtone for a while.
And I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Back when I had my my Motorola Razr phone. Yeah.
Wasn't that the last phone that you got before this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was stubbornly against the smartphone revolution until we started the podcast.
Brandon says Samurai Pizza Cats.
Oh yeah.
You like that theme song? Okay.
Yeah, that was a charming one.
James Bond Jr.
I do remember James Bond Jr.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah. Oh man.
Go ahead. You want to see the Gummy Bears theme song?
Gummy bears?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's actually kind of catchy. Like if you hear it, it will get stuck in your head for like an hour.
Favorite theme song? I don't know about all time, but I do have a few. I really liked the theme song for Doug. Do 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 do. Yeah, that was a shit.
The OG Power Rangers theme song. Yeah, you couldn't go wrong with that one. Ever.
Yeah. Let's see. The Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s.
That was a good one.
Had a really cool one. Of course, The Simpsons. That classic.
That's just iconic.
Oh yeah, that.
Brandon says Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh yeah, I do remember. I liked Alvin and the Chipmunks when I was in kindergarten. Yeah, I do remember that. Man, what were some other ones? Of course, the theme for Rocko's Modern Life.
There was two of them.
Yeah, there were two themes. I like the first one better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tofu by the Beats and Doug. Killer Tofu.
Omoayo.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers. That was a good theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Chippendales.
Oh, yeah, that was a good theme song. I remember I used to be geeked about that when I was in kindergarten. Oh, and of course...
Tailspin.
Fucking right. Oh, Tailspin, yes.
Ninja Turtles is iconic.
Of course. And DuckTales. Yeah. Life is like a hurricane. Oh.
Party Nerds actually did. I got to send you that video where they did it. Darkwing Duck was... Darkwing Duck was the shit, too.
Yeah, I like Darkwing Duck. Man.
You can't even...
Yo, you cannot dump on the 90s when it comes to theme songs.
But you can't just say one.
You really can't. Oh, Goof Troop, that was another one.
Goof Troop, yeah.
Yeah.
Goof Troop was a good one.
Man.
That was good. Well, that will be on the social medias within the next few days. But yeah, send them in. Email us your thoughts on anything that Victor and I had to say on our shows at codexprimepodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can get at us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yep.
We got to get back on Twitch. We really do. YouTube as well. We're everywhere.
Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. You can find us. You mentioned SoundCloud, iTunes?
SoundCloud and iTunes.
Yep. And Google Play.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's pretty much it. And also another unofficial question of the week from our topic of this week. What are some shows that you liked back in the day, but now you're kind of like, does it really hold up? Let us know your thoughts at codexprimepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching us on Facebook Live, listening to SoundCloud. You can catch us next week around 6 p.m.-ish. Next Tuesday, we got another episode for y'all. And, we will catch you on the flip. Peace out, nerds.
Later.
And really, Family Matters does not hold up. Just for the
Shut
record.
up.
It does not.